I did do this. Let everyone in.
You literally want to do everything.
Hi. I'm gonna turn the screen down. That's so loud. It's on like 80. Not necessary. Oh, guys, it's finally Friday. I thought it'd never come this week. Thought this might be the week that we just never made it to Friday, but we did. It's wonderful. Let's see, who've we got? We've got Alyssa. We've got James. We don't have Jenny yet. We've got LeBron. We've got Cece. We've got Cade. We've got Zane. We've got Randall.
Old Cockney accent.
Huh?
Old Cockney accent.
Been working on it.
Okay, have fun in Britain. $5, they're gonna cuss you out for that.
I'd love to go to Britain. I'd love it.
You know I'm being sarcastic and a little bit insulting, right? Because you're doing the Cockney accent.
It's not
kinda
really
bad.
Cockney, it's just British.
Do you know? It's like America. The UK is like the US. There's different places and people have a different accent.
Yeah, I know. There's like a Newcastle accent, there's a Northern accent, there's an Essex accent, there's a Leeds accent, there's a ton of them. I would definitely say mine was not Cockney though. Anyway, I don't think that's offensive. What about like when American actors do an accent to play a British role?
Find that funny, and everybody just laugh at it. Everybody just laugh at it.
They don't always. They
Some
do
of
when
us.
it's really bad, like Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins, but for the most part, it's just part of the job. Okay, folks. What, Randall?
Hey.
Hey. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about Daisy today. We started talking about her on Monday with our Lana Del Rey exercise. And before we talk about Daisy specifically, we're going to talk about women of the 1920s. What do we know so far about the role of women in the 1920s?
They cook, clean, serve. That's it.
Cook, clean, serve for the most part. Yeah. Like post World War I, that's really the first time that women are part of the workforce. And if they are, then they're usually like factory workers or some like fairly menial job that men did before they went to war, and they just had to like pick it up from them. But a lot of women still didn't work and were just expected to like be at home, raise kids, keep the house running, everything else. Women are starting to get a little bit more independence, but marriage is very much like a picture of like it's about appearances. I mean, not everybody's marriage is about appearances, but like you're supposed to get married, you're supposed to have kids, all these things that like you're supposed to achieve in your life. So we're actually going to look at a few advertisements from the 1920s and see what sort of audience they're appealing to and what they say about women. So I'm going to share desktop 2 with you guys and drag them over one at a time. Let me see. What's the first one? Okay, the first one is actually an article. We might not look through the whole article because it's sort of long. There's a couple of them that are kind of long, but here we go. Okay, so the title is "What's Wrong in This Picture?" And it says it's so easy to make embarrassing mistakes in public, so easy to commit blunders that make people misjudge you. Can you find the mistake or mistakes that are being made in this picture? Can you point out what is wrong? If you're not sure, read the interesting article below and perhaps you'll be able to find out. Do we see anything wrong with this picture before reading the article? Other than that, this woman is looking a little judgy, the one right here.
I feel like at the guy.
The guy's a pimp.
He does seem like he might be a pimp. Maybe he is.
Hey, he ain't
A
the pimp
woman on each arm.
I know we're a flash of colors.
Yeah, it could be. All right, let's look through this article and see what they're saying is wrong with this picture. It's a mark of extreme good reading and culture to be able to do at all times exactly what is correct. This is especially true in public, where strangers judge us by what we say and do, like that woman is looking like she is judging. The existence of fixed rules of etiquette makes it easy for people to know whether we're making mistakes or whether we're doing the thing that is absolutely correct and cultured, maybe. They are quick to judge and quick to condemn. It depends entirely upon our knowledge of the most important little rules of etiquette, whether they respect and admire us or receive an entirely wrong and prejudiced impression. In public, many little questions of good conduct arise. By public, we mean at the theater, in the street, on the train, in the restaurant and hotel, wherever men and women who are strangers mingle together and judge one another by action and speech. It is not enough to know that one is well bred. One must see that the strangers one meets every day get no impression to the contrary. Do you know the little rules of good conduct that divide the cultured from the uncultured, that serve as a barrier to keep the ill-bred out of circles where they would be awkward and embarrassed? Do you know the important rules of etiquette that men of good society must observe, that women of good society are expected to follow rigidly? Perhaps the following questions will help you find out just how much you know about etiquette. And this little thing in the middle here, it's asking if you know how to introduce men and women correctly, if you know how to answer a dinner invitation, if you know how to greet a man or woman acquaintance in public. I would think it would probably be different for the man and the woman. Do you know how to plan church and house weddings? Do you know how to use the table silver properly? Do you know how to word invitations and acknowledgements? There are a lot of rules with that. Do you know how to avoid blunders at the theater and opera? Do you know how to do at all times a thing that is absolutely correct and cultured? All these questions are really important to being judged appropriately in society. Do you know how to be a cultured, sophisticated person?
I can say with no doubt in my mind, yes, I do to all of those.
Okay, nice. I definitely don't know how to word invitations and acknowledgements.
I've had to write my own invitations before.
I did in high school, but I don't remember any of it. There's so many rules.
I did it in 3rd grade for my 8th birthday party. It was like the worst sleepover I've ever had.
That's
but
very fancy for a 3rd grader.
I know, it was really great. But I got my period that day, so like it was awful.
Yeah.
But I know how to do that, and I know how to plan stuff.
That's good.
Mark.
I feel like most of us would probably know at least like somewhat how to do these things, or at least we think we do. But their rules in the 1920s might be a little bit different from ours. So you can see there's like little sections here. Etiquette at the theater. When a man and woman walk down the theater aisle together, should the man precede the woman? Should he go in front of her? May they walk arm in arm? When the usher indicates their places, should the woman enter first or the man? Many puzzling questions of conduct confront the members of a theater party who occupy a box. Which seat should the women take and which the men? Should the women remove their hats or don't they wear any? What should women wear to the theater in the evening? What should men wear? Is it correct for a man to leave a woman alone during intermission? At the theater, evidences of good conduct can be more strikingly portrayed than perhaps anywhere else. Here, with people surrounding us on all sides, we are admired as being cultured, well-poised, and attractive, or we are looked upon as coarse and ill-bred. It depends entirely upon how well one knows and follows the rules of etiquette. You know, the thing about it is, it doesn't actually tell us what the rules are, it just asks the questions. But let's look at the one for in the street. What's this one? That's about invitations and stuff. And see if we can figure out what might be wrong with the picture. There are countless tests of good manners that distinguish the well-bred in public. For instance, the man must know exactly what is correct when he's walking with a young woman. According to etiquette, is it ever permissible for a man to take a woman's arm? May a woman take a gentleman's arm? When walking with two women, should a man take his place between them or on the outside? When is it permissible for a man to pay a woman's fare on the streetcar or railroad? Who enters the car first, the woman or the man? Who leaves the car first? If a man and woman have only met once before, encounter each other in the street, who should make the first sign of recognition? Is the woman expected to smile and nod before the gentleman raises his hat? On what occasion should the hat be raised? People of culture can be recognized at once. They know exactly what to do and say on every occasion. And because they know what they're doing, absolutely what is correct, they're calm, well poised, dignified. They are able to mingle with the most highly cultivated people in the highest social circles and yet be entirely at ease. So while they have asked us the questions without actually answering them, what could be wrong with this picture?
So I think that the women should be on the inside. I think that's how that usually goes in this instance. The women should be on the inside. And then that woman should not be looking back necessarily.
Mhm. Another thing that could be wrong, and I don't know for sure, but they proposed the question, should a man take both women's arms, or is that not okay? And maybe it's not okay. Maybe that's against the etiquette.
Yeah, my book.
If they saw each other, I thought that one was interesting. Like if you recognize someone on the street, does the man say hello first or does the woman say hello first?
The man is supposed to say hello first, I believe. If
That's
in
good, huh?
in the way if the man and woman recognize each other, the
Mhm.
man is supposed to tip his hat off towards her
Ooh,
and then go about their business if no conversation is made.
that makes sense. I feel like in this day and age, see somebody in the street and be like, oh, hey, what up? Like whoever sees the other first is just like,
Yeah.
Cece, hey, it's me. We make a big song and dance out of it. What do you think
Yeah.
the author's intent is in writing this article? I mean, keep in mind, they don't actually answer any of these questions.
To inform you
To inform you of what?
how a man's supposed to be when it comes to etiquette.
But here's the thing, whoever wrote this doesn't actually tell us. It just asks us a bunch of questions. They never actually say what the rules are. So why put out this article that asks it without actually answering?
Take this one.
What are the types of writing when articles? I forgot what they are. There's persuasive, informative,
Narrative.
narrative. Is it a persuasive narrative?
What would it be
Like-
persuading us of?
Whether or not we're doing things correctly.
It can definitely pose the question of whether we are. I think again, if it told us the rules, that would probably be a little bit more persuasive. As it is, it's just posing the questions. Let me look at the bottom here and see if here's one thing. Sent free for 5-day examination. Let us send you the famous book of etiquette free so that you can read and examine it in your own home. So it doesn't actually tell us
It's
any
just
of the answers, but
it's
it's like,
just a thing to sell us a program. That's it.
yeah, pretty much. Like now that you're wondering about all these things, I mean, I think the purpose
Maybe
of the
I
article
should get this
is to
book.
kind of, yeah, exactly. It's like, do I know who's supposed to say hi first? I want to seem cultured and classy and sophisticated, but I don't know the answers. If only I had a manual. Do you feel like this, do you think it's written with men, women, or both in mind?
Men.
Men, how come?
Wow. I don't mean to, well, yes, I do what I'm talking about. I don't mean to be that person. Yes, I do. Typically, these men during this day and age are not so very proper. They're like not very
Sophisticated.
yes. So we kind of gotta teach them how to do right
Mhm.
by themselves, because like again, in this day and age, the men were taking care of most things, except for like the housing and stuff, and if they were, it was very rare. So they were going out to lots of events with their women in arms and their people with them behind them, you know.
Mhm.
You got to learn how to do stuff out in public for your lady, and you got to learn how to do stuff out in public for yourself, so that you don't seem crazy or seem like some fool from the Midwest, you know. Like,
Yeah.
you got to be the one to take charge, and the only way you can take charge is if you know how to take charge.
Ideally, yeah. I feel like you could also see it sort of the flip side of that, where women, even now, I think women are the ones who are more concerned with like, am I doing the right thing in public? Am I making an idiot out of myself? And so I think maybe it could be both, like depending on who actually is going to read it. Like, what are they going to do with this information? All right, we're going to move on to the second one. And there are 5 of them. Actually, there were 6, but one is like literally impossible to read. So I just got rid of that one. But this says, Resinol soap, do you yearn for a clear complexion? And look, she's looking in the mirror, but she's seeing more than just her reflection. Ooh. And the little ad, if your skin is not fresh, smooth, and glowing, or has suffered from an unwise use of cosmetics, let Resinol soap help to clear it. Perhaps your complexion is unattractive simply because it's not cleansed thoroughly and regularly with the proper kind of soap. For most skins, the soap should be free from harsh, drying alkali and should contain just enough soothing, healing medication to relieve clogged pores, reduce the tendency to pimples, blah, 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 do all this stuff. Resinol soap is just that kind, an unusually pure and cleansing toilet soap, not like to go in the toilet, it's just like toiletries, to which has been added the gentle Resinol medication. Bathe your face for several minutes with Resinol soap. This is how to use soap. Do this once or twice a day, and you will probably be astonished to see how quickly your complexion becomes clearer, fresher, and more velvety. Beautiful. I want some.
I just
What?
looked it up because I was wondering if it was a real product.
It's real, right?
Yeah, so Resinol is a skin protectant and topical analgesic,
Analgesic, yeah.
analgesic. It's used to prevent and temporarily protect chapped or cracked skin, temporarily relieve pain, itching caused by minor burns, minor cuts, and scrapes, minor skin irritations and sunburn, and dry the oozing and weeping of irritation caused by contact with poison ivy, poison oak, and poison sumac. So it seems like it's aloe vera. That's what that sounds like, or like eczema cream.
Yeah, something like that. So what, just based on the picture and the way that it phrases the ad, what customer base do you think it's aimed at?
The women.
Women. How do you know?
Because there are 2 women in the picture and 1 woman and 1 man in the mirror, and she's with said man. So
Yeah,
she's
so
the one who's
what's
longing
going
for
on
it.
in that picture? Like, what's the implication of this picture?
She sees herself happier with clearer skin with the man of
Uh-huh.
her dreams.
Exactly. If you use this soap, you will have lovely, clear skin and you will find a man and you will be happy, which of course is not accurate, but it is definitely still a way that people advertise to women.
Oh yeah.
Hold on, I'm not inaccurate though. Would you love a person with dirty skin?
Yes.
I mean, it's not a deal breaker.
I love myself and I got some dirty skin. Don't even joke about that.
There's nothing wrong with just keeping your skin clean. That's it.
Well, that's kind of hard for people. That's why it's telling you to wash your
Okay,
skin.
one, how explain how that's hard. I actually want to know
Because
that.
not everything works for everybody, LeBron.
Yeah, exactly. People have all kinds of different skin. Some people have oily skin. Some people have dry skin. Some people are prone to breakouts. Skin is so temperamental.
Yeah, I can't use like regular like soap and water on my face. I use like certain oils and salt, hyaluronic acid, like things like
Hyaluronic
that.
acid.
I can understand that.
That's good stuff. All right,
Whoa,
this
whoa,
is
the
the
bees
third
have.
one. Here's our little picture. We don't really, it's not as obvious what's going on in this one, I don't think, but this is called No Place for Gray Hairs in These Strenuous Days. The woman who wants to succeed. Oh, wait, who's coming in here? Jenny's coming in. The woman who wants to succeed, especially in business, should first of all get rid of that gray hair. Don't dye it. Crude, greasy dyes are repulsive and liable to criticism. Restore it to its original color with this scientific preparation applied by simply combing through the hair. 4 to 8 days treatment are enough. The gray disappears and the natural color returns. No one need know you use it, not even your own family. This clear, colorless liquid is pure and clean as water. It's harmless as the powder which you use every day. It doesn't interfere with shampooing or with curling and dressing. The fact that you can apply it yourself easily, safely, and surely is another great advantage. But don't take our word for any one of these statements. We offer a trial bottle free. What customer base do you think that this is aimed at?
For kicks
Women.
and giggles, men. Definitely women.
Yeah, definitely.
Unless that's a man in a wig and lipstick with eyebrows. Again, I don't judge. That's cool, but I don't think so. Not for you.
But
Not for him.
Well, look at this first paragraph again. So the woman who wants to succeed, especially in business, should first of all get rid of that gray hair. Don't dye it. Crude, greasy dyes are repulsive and liable to criticism.
Okay, listen, hold on. Let's come on. That's a little spicy. Okay, that's a little spicy because I think if women were dyeing their hair back then, they probably wouldn't have been able to tell as much as we think they would.
I don't know.
I don't think so. Because their ingredients were different back then for like hair
That's
dyes and
very
things like that.
Yeah.
So they probably wouldn't have been able to tell, but I don't know.
I don't know. This first paragraph, though, is really interesting. According to this, what helps a woman succeed in business?
No gray hair.
No gray hair. Just color your hair and you'll be successful in business. Do you think that same qualification applies to men?
ew.
No, probably not. There's usually not ads like this for men. In fact, these days, if anything, these days, not those days, there's like hair regrowth for men.
Yeah.
Because
But even
there's like
that-
no pattern baldness.
Yeah, and even with those, you don't really see. It's not like people are gonna like you more or you'll be more successful or anything like that if you use these men's products. It's more like get back to your natural state. It's more like, try to look more natural. Like what you have is enough. It's really
I think
interesting.
it's really switched around now because women who are like in business and they have gray hair look more important and look like they like been doing it for a really long time, and so they know what they're doing and they look smarter and you kind of like trust them more. I don't know about y'all, but for me, like if a woman has been working in the business and I see that she has gray hair and she like sounds like she knows what she's talking about, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And I think also like back then, men with like gray hair, or that might have been in like the 80s or 90s, I don't know. Oh, like in Pretty Woman, I love that movie. I will never not talk about that movie. He has like gray hair and he's a really important businessman. So, you know.
Yeah, women, I mean, forever have had more, like, media tries to tell us to change how we look, whereas men, not that that never happens to men, but like everybody says that men age more gracefully and like they get better looking as they get older. And you're right, like Richard Gere in Pretty Woman, like he's got gray hair, but he looks great, you know? We always feel like
but who looks old and crusty now? Not Julia Roberts.
It's okay though. Like Richard Gere doesn't look bad now though.
Miss McClellan, you wanna know something? I remember something my brother told me. Young people back in his day, back in the 90s, they always fantasize being older guys, like the one you see like 50s or 40s, like the one with great hair. He told me like younger guys want to be like them because they always look cool.
I mean, I think some of them do look cool, yeah.
Like, you ever seen like, I'm gonna use a random fictional character like Mr. Fantastic? You ever notice like kind of look cool, like he has silver white on the side?
No, I don't think I know who that is.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Mr. Fantastic. He has like the slick back with like the silver sides, you know?
Yeah, like a brother with like brothers with like great hair
here, and it just looks cool and distinguished on them. Women get gray hair and start freaking out. I dye my hair because I have a few grays. Why not?
People having gray hair. My mother have gray hair.
My mother had gray hair too, but it was when she was, 50. I'm 30 something. I just don't want it yet. Let me maintain.
My mom calls her, because she has silver hair, her hair doesn't turn gray.
Oh, maybe testing's over now.
When you have silver hair, it's called wisdom hair. It's hair.
My mom has like wisdom hair. So do you think that this advertisement, how to ask this? Its intent might be different than its effect, but do you think it serves to empower women or shame them?
Empower.
I won't say shame.
How come?
Which one?
Like, why do you think it serves to empower them?
Because I feel like it'll give women, like back then it was giving women like the jump boost, like, yeah, I want to feel like that too. I want to feel important and smart and things like that. And I feel like I want to succeed. So I should go and do this, Like,
yeah. I think that's a totally fair way to look at it. I think you can look at it the other way too, that like the way that you look normally is not good enough and you need to do something to change it. And I think that has a lot to do just with the mindset of whoever is looking at the ad. Okay, we're going to look at one more. We were going to look at two more, but the other one is like kind of a long article. So let's bring this one over here. You've got like some pictures here. This is from the Ladies' Home Journal. Got a few pictures. Baby's busy day, 4 charming studies of child life by these people. So it says, you will want to own every one of these appealing baby pictures. They form one of the loveliest groups we've ever offered among calendars which have been famous for the work of great artists. The cunning baby in the bathtub is Jessie Wilcox Smith's charming conception, and you won't be able to decide whether you like it. Children are so loud outside. Or Haskell Coffin's little high chair monarch, the best. This person's sweet girl mother wins your admiration as thoroughly as does the absorbed young naturalist in the sandbox, and perhaps many will find Harold Brett's end of the day loveliest of all. The best of advice about caring for baby too. This calendar, besides being so beautiful that you feel you must have it for your own, is practical as well. On the back of each leaf will be found dozens of hints by a famous medical authority on the care of the baby, the very latest information on feeding and play, training and sleep, everything you want to know if there is a baby in the house. And whether there's a real one or not, you'll want the adorable ones in these pictures. Aren't they so cute? Baby in the bath, baby playing, babies saying their prayers, or at least little children. I thought this one was the best one at all, is baby at breakfast. I think he is an ugly baby, but that's just me.
You think
What-
the eyes older?
What's it trying to sell, and what customer base is this aimed at?
Calendars.
And baby pictures.
They're selling calendars.
A calendar full of baby pictures. Who are they
Like
trying
a-
to get to buy it?
Mothers and families, but mostly mothers. Because who
Mhm.
doesn't want a picture of a little naked random baby on the
I
wall?
Don't.
Um,
Hey, that's a good
my-
conversation starter.
wait, this is a really quick story. Because me and my mom were talking about it. And it's just like a common thing. I don't know if this happens in like any other household, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But like in older Black people's households, there are usually pictures of like little naked Black babies like on the wall. Now they're random children, but like there'll be one picture like in the bathroom with a little baby who's covered in a roll of toilet paper, and he's like looking back at the camera like, oh, did I do that? Like that's one with like the little naked baby angels like holding something, that's another one. And they're like, I don't know, maybe like old people like do that, but like that's just like a rite of passage for old people, is when they get like little naked baby pictures on their wall. I don't know, is that just like me that I've noticed?
I haven't seen that, but
That does happen. I regret hearing this. I remember going to places where like my grandmother, she was getting like weird angels with always like naked babies. And I was like, why do you have this?
just a thing they think is cute. I don't get it, but
I don't see it's cute. I see it a little creepy. Like, let's say you're a grown man. Let's say you're like an old man with baby pictures. I look at him like, hey, are these your kids? Because I'm looking with confusion and also curiosity. I'm like, why do you have this?
yeah. So one thing that I'm noticing about all of these baby pictures is that they each have a mother in the picture with them. There's no pictures of fathers. What do you think we're supposed
That's
to take away
true.
from that?
That it's only the mamas. Oh.
It's really only the mama's rule. And think
Yeah.
about like in The Great Gatsby, like number one, we barely hear about the kid at all. But the only times we do, it's twice, and it's Daisy talking. It's not like, I don't think Tom says a single word about the kid. And that was just kind of like the expectation. Like men weren't necessarily like close with their children. That was really up to the mother to raise them.
Well, dad has to go to work. So
Dad has to go to work.
if y'all want food on this table, dad cannot see y'all for a little while. Either y'all see dad or y'all get no food. Which one y'all want? That's what their mindset was.
Okay, so we're not going to look at the last one because it's actually just like, it's so hard to read. I can't even say it, but I can't read it. But the headline was "Modern Girls Face Certain Disaster. Flappers Called Saddest Type of All." What do you guys know about flappers?
And those dresses.
They had like the dresses with like the little things on them that like
The
when they like
fringe.
twisted, they'd go everywhere.
The fringe.
Yeah, they have little fringy dresses. Yeah. Their dresses are usually like about knee height, which at that point was considered short. Like we're coming out of the Victorian time period where it was ankle length dresses, long sleeves, hats, and we know that every new era kind of rebels against the one before it. So it's like women are being a little bit more empowered, showing their legs, cutting their hair, bobbing their hair, listening to jazz, dancing, and like kind of flaunting their disdain for what was considered sociable behavior. I feel like Jordan is a bit of a flapper. And maybe Daisy is too, but the way that Jordan's always so like bored, and like it always describes her as like yawning, like she yawns her words. She's just kind of like disdainful about everything, but in a fashionable way. So this article is like basically saying, the first little thing says, girls with no aim in life but to walk up and down the streets, satisfied if they can get enough money to take them to picture palaces and keep them supplied with high-heeled shoes. So it's sort of saying that flappers are known as being like materialistic. And
are you sharing your screen?
I'm not sharing my screen. It's too hard to read.
Okay.
I'm just kind of telling you about it. So it's kind of saying that flappers are materialistic, and whereas like the expectation is for women to stay home and like take care of the kids and stuff, flappers are like, oh, let's have a good time. Let's like go out and see movies and dance at the jazz club and stuff. And people who are very proper in society look down on that. So after we've looked at all these advertisements and I just like told you a little bit about the flapper one, can you draw any generalizations about the expectations that are placed on women in the 20s?
Expectations like for like party women or like parenting women?
Either or. Like what does society expect women to be like?
Oh, I don't know, hold on.
I feel like we might run out of time to do this thing. Like there's a few questions to go with this, but I might just not have you do it if we run out of time. Any ideas? What do you think? What do they think make women feminine? What kind of behavior is expected of women out in public, or what does society expect their role to be?
They're supposed to dress fancy.
Do you say they expect women to dress fancy?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, like to take care of themselves and present themselves in a really feminine, like upscale kind of way, cultured, for sure.
That we have now.
What?
Isn't that similar to what we have now in the U.S.?
I think so. Yeah, I feel like women are still expected to like put themselves together and like put a lot of effort into their appearance, whereas it's easy for men to just like roll out of bed and go and like look fine. I think the difference back then is, of course, that women don't have as much power, they don't have as much agency. We've talked about how Daisy has options, but does she really? Like, she can't work, she can't go off on her own. She lives a lifestyle that she's very comfortable with, and even if Tom sucks in every possible way, she has loved him at some point and he has kept her comfortable. So why abandon all that for an old boyfriend who was penniless and now might be a bootlegger?
Because he's handsome. Okay.
Because he's handsome. And
I
he
said it because we were
her.
all thinking it. He's really hot. And we all knew it. And that makes so much sense if your husband is ugly, but you love the prettier one more than you do the ugly one, obviously.
And I think that's why a lot of people really see Daisy as like a villain, because they're like, she does love Gatsby and yet she sticks with Tom, and
because she needed security. She needed security. Why would you sit and wait for somebody who's probably never going to come back from a
Yeah.
battle. Like, why would
She
you do
didn't
that?
even know. Yeah, she didn't know anything about him for 5 years. She didn't know if he was even alive.
Yeah, 5 years. I'm not waiting on somebody for 5 years.
Yeah.
We
Oh.
met one night and we like had a great 2 months and then you disappeared. I'm not trying to hear all that. I'm not trying to hear all that. So after 5 years, babe, I'd be done after 6 months. If I know you just not come back, you not come back in my mind. That's it. I'm not gonna sit here and wait for you.
She was ready to move on. It even said like she did wait for him for a while. She stopped dating anyone else, even though she was
Daisy
like the most
is
popular
a
person.
grown woman. That is a grown woman. She know her
She got
worth.
to a
She
point where
knows
she was
everything.
like, I need to settle down. I'm ready to start the next part of my life. Let me find
Yeah.
somebody to start it with. I can't fault
Yeah.
her for that.
I'm not mad at her. Like, do your thing. That is taking charge of your life. And she took charge of her life. Now, I can see how she may look bad. Like, oh, well, she got the love of her life and she's yeah. Okay, whatever. The real reason why she's villain is because she got Gatsby killed. That's the real reason why. Okay.
Yeah, that's
the only
not
reason why.
great.
Everything
Yeah.
else, that's not her fault.
We'll find out on Tuesday how she deals with knowing that he's dead now. What do you guys think is going to happen in this last chapter?
I believe she's not gonna feel jack crap about Gatsby.
She might not.
She's gonna be like, oh, I did it. I killed him. And they're gonna be like, what do you mean, Daisy? You didn't kill him. This person did. No, I did it. I jumped out in the car that night. Blah, blah, blah. And it's just.
I do wonder if she told Tom that it was really her driving. And I mean, we'll never know, but
I don't think she will. She doesn't seem like the type of person. She's gonna be like, "Ooh, got some good news and some bad news."
Yeah. And also, if she did, like, she does not know that Myrtle was Tom's mistress, but can you imagine, like, if your wife confessed that she killed your mistress, what's he gonna do?
I'll be terrified if I was in his shoes. I'm like, oh, shoot, she killed my mistress. She gonna kill me next?
Well, I mean, she didn't mean to kill the mistress anyway, but
That would be in the back of your head, like, oh shoot, is she gonna kill me next?
I don't know.
I mean, it was accidental.
Take the chance.
And she was like being exasperated when she did this, right? She was like, stop, don't do this. Like, that's what she was like in the parking lot that night, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see on Tuesday. But I don't think we are going to have time to do this. I know I'm still sharing my screen with you. I have this page of quotes from Daisy that I kind of want to see, like, what can we figure out about her from these quotes. So this is actually, this first quote is probably one of Daisy's most famous quotes. And actually Fitzgerald took this from real life. This was what his wife said, actually. She said, this was when she was talking about giving birth. And she said, I woke up out of the ether with an utterly abandoned feeling and asked the nurse right away if it was a boy or a girl. She told me it was a girl. And so I turned my head away and wept. All right, I said, I'm glad it's a girl. And I hope she'll be a fool. That's the best thing a girl can be in this world, a beautiful little fool. What does that mean? Why is that what she says?
Because those men back then weren't it. They were not it. They were not the thing. So if the little girl could be anything, at least she can be some stupid little kid.
Yeah.
Get away with it because she's a woman. I don't know.
She'll be a beautiful little fool. And it does kind of seem like, I don't know, that's almost like, even though she's calling her a fool, just like, I don't think she means I hope she's stupid, but just like ignorant about the world and how awful it can be. I hope life is good for her. I hope she just like dances through life in a rosy haze, basically. Which is sort of a nice thing to wish for a kid. But then she says, I think everything's terrible anyhow. I've been everywhere and seen everything and done everything. You've been everywhere and seen everything and done everything, but you think everything is terrible. It's not exactly an optimistic viewpoint. but she is very like disillusioned.
She's
Which-
done everything that she's wanted to. It's all good.
Yeah. And disillusionment is such a huge theme of literature at this point, just like realizing that life is not all it's cracked up to be. And I think a lot of our characters realize that in this book. I'm gonna skip down because we're gonna have to leave in just a minute. Oh, I think this one is interesting. She's talking to her kid in these two. Your mother wanted to show you off. You dream, you absolute dream. How do you like mother's friends? Do you think they're pretty? From that, what do you think her relationship with her daughter is like?
Her daughter, well, she doesn't really. I think her and her daughter's relationship is very, you do this and you do that because I say this and I say that, and this is how you have to do it. And if you don't do it, then you'll be looked at funny. If you looked at funny, then you look funny to me, and then I can't have you as my kid because you look funny to me because everybody else sees you and you look funny to them.
Yeah, it is kind of about like how other people perceive them. If she even said like, I want to show you off, which like we've kind of talked about how women back then are supposed to get married, they're supposed to have kids, they're supposed to have all these certain things. And this is evidence that Daisy does. So like, let me show you off so everyone can see that I am a proper woman and I've done what I need to do. And Daisy's kind of all about that, like all about the superficial side and like impressing people. Cause she even like, she asks her daughter, how do you like mother's friends? Do you think they're pretty? And kind of like, I want to be surrounded by pretty things. I want you to think that I have pretty people in my life. It's very, very materialistic. But I think that can also be kind of seen in this last quote, and we got to wrap it up. But Daisy was young, and her artificial world was redolent of orchids and pleasant, cheerful snobbery and orchestras which set the rhythm of the year, summing up the sadness and suggestiveness of life in new tunes. And I kind of feel like that's showing that like artificial veneer that looks so pretty, and then underneath it, there's this kind of sadness and emptiness. All right, gotta let you guys go. I will see y'all Tuesday to finish this book.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, where's my mouse?
Have a nice weekend.
You too. Bye.